Hi, welcome to the channel and thank you for joining me. So today's quite a surprise for me, to be perfectly honest, because I kind of planned and thought that I would do a follow-up to my sort of fail the video I did a few weeks ago. Put a link up here where I kind of looked at misses rather than hits, so to speak. Specifically reissues. Now, at that point in time, I did mention Tori Amos, Unrepentant Geraldines. Now, this is the original album, and apologies for the shrink, but I've left the shrink on these because you can kind of see the difference here with the label, for instance. So this is the 2014 original on Mercury Records, okay? You can see here Mercury Classics, and actually when you look at the track listing, you'll see that there's a different track listing for the new album, okay? So this is something I've had for 10 years basically, and then I was very kind of hesitant as to whether I would buy it, but I did. This is the new one, so deluxe edition, and it's got 3 additional songs: Dixie, White Telephone to God, and Forest of Glass. Okay, if we look on the back, we can see this is 2024 Decca. Okay, so the original was on Mercury, and the reissue, the 10th anniversary version, is on Decca with 3 additional tracks. Now, I'll be brutally honest, Unrepentant Geraldines wasn't an album that particularly inspired me. So we've obviously got to forget the new one for now, because that, until last week I hadn't heard it. So this is the original album. You can see the quite nice in the sleeves with lyrics and 2 black LPs. Now the really interesting thing here is, and this is something that really kind of intrigued me, and I didn't realise this at the time 10 years ago. Now you won't be able to see this, I'm sure, but I will overlay a photograph of this as well as I can, because these things are ridiculously hard to photograph. But you can kind of see here, it says Abbey Road, Miles. So there we go. So the original, 10 years ago, was cut by Miles Showell at Abbey Road. It says Abbey Road, Miles on this side too. So there we go. Now, I was beginning to think that I didn't really like what Miles Showell did, frankly. Certainly I was beginning to think that his half-speed mastered thing was really not to my liking. And it has to be said, okay, I don't know whether this is half-speed mastered. It's not listed as half-speed mastered that I can see anywhere, but it is Miles Showell cut at Abbey Road. And it was about 8, 9, 10 years ago that I honestly believe he started experimenting with half-speed mastering. So, the sound of this is kind of soft and a little bit flat, and it just didn't really inspire me. Now, as with the Scarlet's Walk, which I did a review of, which I'll put a link to up here, which is my favourite Tori Amos album by quite some way. And I'd like to point out here that I am definitely a Tori Amos fanboy. I haven't got everything she's done, but I've got most of it. And I really love where she's coming from. I love the sound of her voice and the expression that she gets into her voice. I love her piano playing and the sound of her piano. And I love her compositions. I really do. And I find she's an intriguing and interesting spiritual entity, so to speak. Okay, I really do admire her very, very much. So, whilst I don't love everything she's done, I'll probably buy it just because, and then find out afterwards. And there's something more coming up on that note. But, that's what I got this. And it didn't sort of set me alight, so to speak. And then I listened to online a digital version, and I bought a download, and you can still get this on Qobuz. You can hear this original cut, or this original 2014, or I think it actually was, the digital version was mastered in 2013 possibly, but anyway, the Mercury 2013/14 digital 2496 version of this, which you can still get on Qobuz. I'm not sure how long you will be able to get that, and I think you can download and buy it, so I would possibly suggest you do. I'll put links to these down in the description if I can. But I prefer the digital version of this original 2014, because that's when I believe it was released. 2014 it says here. I'm not sure why the digital version on Qobuz says 2013. It does say 31st of December 2013, but there we go. So, I prefer the digital version, and frankly that's exactly as the case was with Scarlet's Walk, so no great surprise there, and that was sort of colouring my expectation and kind of making me very hesitant to buy the new vinyl version and give it a listen. But I did, and here we are. So, and again, I've left this in the shrink because, the main sort of identifier, if you like, is the label here. And I'll probably take it out for storage. But as you can see, it's got 3 extra tracks, and it's on Decca rather than Mercury. Same kind of deal, same inner sleeves with lyrics. They are cramped up a little more because you've got 3 more songs on there. And then here we are with the LPs. It's a double album. And here it says Miles, Abbey Road, half speed, room 30. So again, another Miles Showell cut from Abbey Road. This time definitely half speed. As I say, the first time around, I'm really not sure. Now, all expectation would for this to be a complete failure, which, if you've looked at my other videos, you'll everything I've kind of heard, frankly, would indicate that. And on first listen, it has to be said, and on first listen, and this is why I said I was actually all prepared for this to be a negative review, okay? And I was going to lump together with a few more sort of fails that I found recently. And on first listen, I'll cut to the chase. So on first listen, I preferred this new cut to the old cut, first of all, which was interesting. Okay, I'll just wait a little while before I go into the details of that. But I preferred the new version to the old version. So that's like, oh, okay. So I know the new version's half speed mastered. The old version may be half speed mastered, but whatever, Miles Showell's done a better job of it this time round than he did 10 years ago. So that kind of, flies in the face of my current thinking. However, on the very first listen, I still think I preferred the original digital version, the 2496 digital version, which you can get on Qobuz. Now, there is a new digital version on Qobuz, so I've listened to that too. And then I kind of went back and actually listened to all 4 versions again. And what struck me is actually that I prefer the new half-speed mastered Miles Showell cut Abbey Road vinyl version over all other versions. It's not by a massive amount, but it is by a clear amount. There's no question. I've been backwards and forwards, adjusting the volume accordingly each time, but backwards and forwards in all sorts of orders. And this is definitely my preferred version. So all good. So this was hardly going to turn into a negative video. That's what sort of threw the spanner in the works, so to speak. So how does it sound better? Okay, so if I go to the new digital version, okay, I'll talk about that first. And basically it sounds peaky and shouty. And if there's one thing that, well, there's kind of, I think there's sort of three main elements to Tori Amos's music that I absolutely love, right? So the first is the way she sings, her voice and the way she sings. It's got a phenomenal, she's sort of slip sliding and ducking and diving and you know, vocal cords are kind of dancing around like a ninja. It's just amazing the way she vocalizes and uses her voice as an instrument. I absolutely love it. I think the second thing is her sort of sense of melody, and it isn't just the melody of her piano playing, but that is a massive part of it. But it's the way she uses bass guitars and drums and fiddles and just, you know, the whole kind of jig, the groove, the melody of her songs is absolutely captivating. It's I just love it. I really, really do. It's kind of like it's sort of got one foot in sort of progressive rock, and I think it's got another foot in folk. So, you know, prog folk, if you can imagine such a strange mashup. But I just love it. And then the third element really is just it kind of combines those two really, and it is the sound of her piano. When she's on certain albums, she really is playing the piano, and that's kind of the driving element of the music. Massively so on Scarlet's Walk, for instance, which is why it's probably my favourite of her albums. But it is also on this, and basically the best one, this one, the new 2024 vinyl LP, half-speed mastered, cut by Miles Showell, obviously from a digital file, because that's how they do it. It's the way the melodies flow, the way her voice is sort of soft and three-dimensional in space, but just it has all that kind of agility and ducking and diving and sort of weaving in and out of the melodies and just amazing. But also the piano, it's got weight and body and just delicious flowing melodies. It's wonderful. So that's where this scores. And I will actually just a very brief nod to the three new tracks: Dixie, White Telephone to God, and Forest of Glass. I mean, White Telephone to God, I could take it or leave it, frankly. Dixie's beautiful piano sound. It's a nice song, absolutely beautiful. Forest of Glass, that's the one. It's achingly beautiful. It's wonderful. It sounds lovely. It's a great addition. And if you've already got this and you actually really like the sound of the original, I'd still contemplate getting this for those new tracks, but particularly for Forest of Glass. Okay, so we've got four versions, if you like. We've got the new vinyl, we've got the original vinyl, we've got the new digital, and we've got the original digital. So I've ranked them, okay? So last place is actually this original vinyl. It just left me underwhelmed with the album to the point I kind of overlooked it. It just didn't inspire me particularly. So, you know, unlike, I mean, I would say of my favourite Tori Amos albums, Little Earthquakes, Under the Pink, Boys for Pele, Scarlet's Walk, The Beekeeper, and Gold Dust. I think those are my favourite of her albums so far. And that's really because, you know, I've got so many more of them, but if they don't grab me initially, I kind of won't revisit particularly, and they'll sit there as sort of undiscovered gems or kind of missed hits, you know, depending. This for me was, you know, I thought it was you know, just an also ran of an album, but no, actually it's up there with those others. It's really a really, really good album. And again, more on this later. So the fourth place, the original vinyl. Third place, actually, the new digital version. So whereas the new vinyl version sounds brighter, more agile, more three-dimensional, more nimble and melodic, more musically groovy, just everything about it's captivating, beautiful. The new digital version just sounds a bit peaky and a bit shouty, okay? So in second place, the original digital version, which is, compared with the new one, is much smoother and much more natural and actually sounds quite close to the new vinyl. But the new vinyl has got even more kind of smoothness and roundness and three-dimensionalness. And when I say smoothness and roundness, it's not like you're softening it and making it less distinct. It's actually bringing it out, giving it solidity and bringing it out of the background. There's a bit on which track are we on? Trouble Cement, beautiful song, where she sings a line and then there's like baby, baby, kind of coming out of extreme left and extreme right foreground, and it's almost like she's kneeling on the floor, and with all the other versions it sounds vaguely contrived and just like someone's got, sitting at the mixing desk and just right, yes, extreme hard left and then extreme hard right. Brilliant, job done. On this, it is almost, it's more like a composite, a call and responsey kind of thing. I mean, she sings the line in the middle and then echoes it in the far left, echoes it in the far right, and it flows and it doesn't shout. It's beautiful, but the way the bass, the bass is beautiful. The piano is most beautiful. Her voice is most beautiful on this. And what was it, £33? Without a doubt, it's my favourite version. And it was an album I wasn't particularly keen on of hers, and now I am. It's, what I don't think you can say better than that. It's full of great tracks. Troubles from Out Wild Way. It's beautiful. I love it. Absolutely love it. So, are we all finished? No, because on a similar note, in fact, having done that, and as I say, I was expecting that to come out as a negative. I've got some more records lined up, and maybe this will be the next video. But here we have Ocean to Ocean, and this is actually Tori's most recent kind of new release. I mean, this is the most recent release, but it's a reissue, if you see what I mean. The previous release is this, which I think came out in 21. Yeah, 21. So it came out during COVID, and she wrote it and performed it during COVID, and it's a much nicer, you've got a lovely gatefold album cover, lovely inners with the lyrics again. I'll be showing all of this, but a really nice thing. Now, when this was announced, again, as I said, I'm a Tori Amos fanboy, there's no question. So I ordered this on CD and on vinyl, as is what I would normally do. So the CD arrived, I played it, and I just sort of, it's okay. And very, very much like Unrepentant Geraldines or several other of her albums, I just sort of, okay. It's not, it's not another Scarlet's Walk. It's not another Little Earthquakes. And I just sort of, okay. And when this turned up, I mean, honestly, this has sat in its shrink wrap, sealed, until this last week. Because I wasn't inspired to play it, And anyway, I having got to where I got to with this Unrepentant Geraldines, I opened this up and I thought, let's give it another go. So I don't know now. I think Yeah, here we go. Vinyl mastered by Miles Showell at Abbey Road, London, UK. Doesn't say it's half speed, but again, Miles Showell. So, it says here, Miles, Abbey Road, room 30. So same as the other album in what it says. So I think probably this is half speed mastered, but sometimes they're advertised as such, sometimes they're not. I don't know. I really don't know. I'd love to find out actually, but I didn't play it because of all of my previous experiences. But anyway, we get round. So I sit down and I put the album on CD first of all. And it's kind of quite nice. It's nice songs. It's kind of quite shamanic. It's quite I like all that sort of stuff. I like the content. I like I like the composition very, very, very much. It's got a sort of bit more folky kind of jig type of thing in it. It's sort of also a bit more orchestrated. It's very, very, very nice. But the sound of the CD just didn't really do it. So then I put the vinyl on and holy cow, it's way better than the CD. It really is. It's I think I got about 2 tracks into it and just, wow. This is, again, like with Unrepentant Geraldines, it's an album that I'd heard on CD, and in the case of Unrepentant Geraldines, heard on the original vinyl release. And this sounds beautiful, and it is absolutely beautiful. And it's gone from, Tori's bashed out another album. I'm not particularly inspired by it. That was my first feeling. To what a beautiful album. What an amazing, absolute genius and angel of musical essence. She is. Something else. Really, really, really something else. So, again, very, 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 very much to my surprise. And I honestly thought these two were going to be appearing in, you may as well buy the CD type of videos. But no, actually, they're both by Miles Showell, and contrary to everything that I kind of had thought so far, and that's definitely, I'm not changing my tune on, the Sade, and that there is, there's more updates to this, which underlines what I previously thought, nor the Duran Duran and all the rest of it. But in the case of these two albums, he's knocked it out of the park. So there we go. Figure that one out. On that note, I will say thank you very, very, very much for watching. But the essence of this is Tori Amos Ocean to Ocean and Tori Amos Unrepentant Geraldines 10th Anniversary Edition. You can quite happily go out and buy both of them on vinyl, and they sound wonderful. They are the best versions of this music that I have currently heard. Okay, so on that note, I'll say cheerio, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye now. Bye.